Hi everybody, my name is Brad. I'm the tasting room manager here at Reiniger and Helix Wines in Walla Walla, Washington. And today we're here to talk to you guys about our Helix at Home tasting kit. We've been spending a while putting these together. We're very excited that we get to show them with you today. So we're gonna try through 5 wines. We're gonna go through our Rosé, our Merlot, our Southern Rhone blend, a red blend that we call Pamasha, Tucker's Legacy Red, and a Cabernet Sauvignon to finish it off. So we're gonna start off by talking about our Rosé here. So a little bit about Rosé and a little bit about the brand. Helix is a brand of Reiniger Winery. This is the facility that we manufacture all of our wine at. We started the winery back in 1997, and we started the Helix brand as an exploration into the Columbia Valley. Washington's a very diverse growing region. There's many different types of growing climates, growing mediums, temperature ranges, rainfalls, and they all contribute to different terroirs for grapes. So sourcing from multiple different vineyard sites throughout Washington gives us the ability to make several different styles of wines for every type of wine drinker out there, this Rosé being no exception. We use Sangiovese for the Rosé here. We do several different Sangiovese based wines. We love it. It's a nice light red Italian varietal, a little bit more acidity than some of the Bordeaux styles you get. And we grow this wine at a vineyard called Stillwater Creek, just outside of Royal City in the Royal Slope AVA. It's fairly new to Washington State. And we love this vineyard site for its higher elevation. You retain a little bit more acidity in there, which is great for both Sangiovese and Rosé. You get a nice fruitiness to the wine. It's not overly tannic. And at the end of the day, you get a wine that has a nice little bit of color. This has about 3 hours of skin contact time. And it's light, it's fruity. For the Rosé, we're doing a stainless steel fermentation, so it doesn't go into oak barrels. It helps retain that nice bright back of the mouth acidity that you're gonna get. Drinks very light, a lot of fruit flavor, and it's fresh. You get strawberries, you get a bit of a little lemon rind going on in the nose. And coming in on the palate, it really matches quite a bit of that. To me, I get kind of a bright strawberry note, fresh fruit, easy drinking. The acidity already as I'm doing this, my mouth is kind of starting to swell up a little bit here. It's delicious. Easy drinking wine, $19 price point on the bottles, so it's achievable for most people, and we've loved making it so far, so I hope you get to try it. So the next wine that we're gonna talk about with you is our 2018 Helix Merlot. Merlot is a varietal that's near and dear to us. We've been making Merlot and Cabernet since 1997. They were some of the first varietals that we did here at Reiniger. First vintage of the Helix Merlot and Cab was in 2003. Vineyard sourcing on this is the same as the Sangiovese Rosé. We're getting this from Stillwater Creek Vineyard, again, Royal Slope AVA. And we really like this one for a lot of the same reasons that we like the Sangiovese up there. That higher elevation really helps keep the acidity present in the wine. It keeps the sugar and hence the alcohols at bay. It doesn't make the wine too tannic because the skins don't have to fight so hard through the sun. So you get a really nice balanced wine. Acidity comes into play here quite a bit. And then Merlot does phenomenal in Washington. It gets soft, you get these light fruit flavors like cherry, you get currant, you get black plum. And then when we're barrel aging this one, we tend to use American oak for our Merlot. American oak is a little bit less aggressive than French oak. You get some sweeter notes from that as well. You get baking spices, vanilla, you get butterscotch. From time to time you can find coconut. So it's a great wine to put into American oak. We don't use too much. This isn't meant to be an overly oaky wine by any means. Approachability and balance are really what come down to be key here. So we use 8% new oak on this. Everything's cellared down here in our cellar here. Our Bordeaux typically are in barrel for 22 to 24 months, and this is no exception here. And when I come on in the nose, black cherry, plum, just dark fruit in general. A little potpourri, a little bit of a floral note to it. And on the palate, much the same. I think of jam a little bit. You get some black cherry, maybe some black raspberry in there, currant. And then there is that little bit, if you kind of let your palate sit there long enough and you really look for it, you find those wood spice characters, that little bit of vanilla, a little bit of coconut on there. And the thing about this wine that keeps me engaged is that balance, and that's really key when you're making wine. You don't want it to be too aggressively tannic, but you also don't want it to be boring and flabby. So this has a nice acidity at the end there, light body, fruit forward, easy drinking, and a $23 price point keeps it approachable for most of the everyday drinkers out there. The next wine that we're going to talk about today is our 2018 Helix Soro. SoRo standing for Southern Rhone Blend. This is a blend of wines that come out of native to the Southern Rhone region of France. We're pulling this from Stone Tree Vineyard, which is out of the Wallou Slope west of here. Nice warm vineyard site, rocky growing medium, and it's named after the petrified trees that are out there. The blend is composed of Mourvedre, Grenache, and Cinsault. We use those same varietals every year, and each one of those varietals bring their own little special bit to the plate here. So the Mourvedre, it's meaty, it's got some earthy notes to it, really nice fruit characters to there. You can always smell that Grenache in there. Same thing, I get some meatiness out of those usually. The growing medium out there helps promote some of the earthier, kind of darker, luscious fruit flavors there. And then for us, maybe a more standard Southern Rhone style of wine would be a GSM. We use Cinsault instead of Syrah. Syrah is aggressive out in Washington. It's very potent. You get a lot of bright, intense fruit flavors from it. You get a lot of tannin out of there. And while Cinsault still has some of those characteristics, they're a little bit more tamed. Helps be a supporting character for the wine. So this is really all about balance. All of our wines really come down to a balanced profile. We're not trying to let it get out of hand there. Part of our winemaking process here to keep that in line is not using any new barrels. This is 100% what we call neutral oak, meaning the barrels have been used before. So they're not really imparting any flavor to the wine at that point. It's just an aging vessel, helping the wine come into its own and round out, letting the acidity get where you want it to be, keeping the tannins in check and rounding those out. So when we're making this, we're trying to do so in a way that everything that you taste, everything that you smell, that's all from the vineyard. We call it its terroir. You want to be able to taste and smell this wine and know that it came from the Wallou Slope. This is a Washington wine, and we don't want it to be overpowered by all the nuances that you're going to get in an oak barrel. So coming in on the nose here, yeah, you get some of the similar concepts before. Red currant, black cherry, a little bit of plum, but this one has more, like I was talking about, those earthy characteristics, some tea, some pepper, a meatiness, a defined meatiness, and balance. It's not overly done. It's very engaging for a wine that's as light and medium body as it is right here. And then coming in on the palate, yeah, kind of follows the nose there a bit. You get some cherry, you get some stewed strawberries, this lovely, earthy, stony undertones to the wine. And as it finishes, I'm always surprised and reminded that it's just not that heavy. Sometimes you get people out here in Walla Walla and they just think that wines need to be massive to be flavorful. That's not true. You can have all of the characteristics in love and great wine without having it be something that's so heavy that you don't want to go in for a next sip. This one is typically we release this to our wine club first. They take first crack at it and they love this wine. Been making it for quite a number of years now. Very engaging for a lot of people and drinkable on a regular basis. So hope you get some. Next up on our list is our 2019 Helix Pamasha. We're currently in a name change transition for this one. We've historically called it Pamasha. It was the first wine that we made under the Helix label back in 2002. But the name Helix, the brand, it's kind of an ode to Chuck Reiniger, his wife Tracy, and their side of the family. Back in the early 2000s, the Tucker family, Tracy's family, approached the Reinigers and wanted to enter the wine industry, and they sold a big piece of their wheat farm out in Helix, Oregon. We used those finances to help fund the winery as it is today. So we're extremely grateful, and we're naming this wine kind of in their honor. So going on to that, this is a red blend that we make every year that is probably one of the most well-received wines that we make. $18 price point makes it extremely achievable. It's usually a blend of Cabernet and Syrah and then other Bordeaux varietals, sometimes some Italian varietals coming into there. This year, it's predominantly Cabernet and Syrah, a little bit of Merlot in there as well. Tiny bit of Petit Verdot you can usually pick up on. The name of the game for this wine is really approachability and food pairing. This is you can consume on any night of the week. It's always bright, it's always fresh. You're always gonna get a nice, lush, plush fruit character to the wine without being overly aggressive. You can drink this on a Tuesday, you can drink it on a Saturday, and it pairs with a whole number of foods. You can go red meat, you can go lighter meats on there, you can go any varietal of vegetable dishes. And every time I go into it, it's always fun, it's always engaging, it's so bright. This is a 2019 wine, so it's young, it's gonna stay lively, and it's meant to be consumed as such. It isn't meant to be one of those wines that you come back to in 30 years and look for some dark chocolate notes. This is an $18 bottle of wine. Let's get it moving, let's get it drinking. Yeah, and it's a blend of wines from the Columbia Valley, Phinney Hill Vineyards, Stillwater Creek Vineyards, and a blend of oaks as well. You get a little bit of French, you get a bit of American, and you can pick up on all of those in their own rights. Coming in on the palate, you get plum, you get cherry. This one's fun. You get some pomegranate notes in there. It's just so versatile. Easy drinking body, balanced acidity, not overly tannic, and it's fun. And it's bright, and it keeps me wanting to drink it. Every time I go in for it, I want to take another sip. So I hope you're able to get some of this today. The final wine on our tasting kit today is our 2017 Helix Cabernet Sauvignon. We love Cabernet, as does Washington State. It's the most planted varietal in the state. So as you can tell, there's plenty of vineyard sourcing options for it. We really enjoy Phinney Hill Vineyard, which is out of Horse Heaven Hills, for our Cabernet Sauvignon, which is where we get this. Phinney Hill doesn't get quite as hot as Walla Walla Vineyard sites do, so it helps keep the tannins in check, helps keep the acidity balanced with it, and it grows the fruit in a way that you can really taste that it came from that vineyard. When we're making our wines here, we want you to be able to tell the terroir in there. You want to be able to pick up on the undertones of some of the flavors. So there's a balance of flavors in here. The plush fruit character comes through without that aggressive tannin punch to your face. So we're really trying to make this wine in a way that you drink it and you're able to pick up on all of these nuances. Coming in on the nose, it's fruity, as are many of the other ones. I get kind of a dark fruit. This is like dark cherry. I get pomegranate, even a little bit of fig on this one, kind of this more complex fruit aromas on there, and definitely a deepness. This is darker and deeper than the other wines we've had on here so far. And the palate kind of follows suit. It's a little bit more baked fruit than some of the other ones. Some of our other vintages, a little bit higher, a little bit brighter in character. This one's more of a dark, illustrious, and captivating fruit flavor. You get that currant, and that nice mid palate of the black cherry just kind of follows you through. The tannin's present, it's engaging, it tells you that it's a Cabernet, it tells you that you're drinking Washington wine, but it's fruity, and I get that Phinney Hill characteristic where you do get that onset of that dark fruit, a little bit of aged fruit character to it. I think fig does it right. That's the right word for me. Tannins are there to keep this wine in check. You know that it's Cab, you know that it's a Washington Cab. It's not overly aggressive by any means. There's supporting character to the wine. And then as far as the oaking, the barrelage program for this, we put this one into a blend of American and French oak. It's about 10% new oak, which isn't too much here. It's really just meant to, like I said, add a supporting body to the wine there. You get a nice kind of this wood spice aftertaste at the very end. A little bit of vanilla there, and it really just kind of helps accent that really now kind of what I would call baked fruit flavor to it. And the fig, little fig note at the end as well, really kind of helps round it out. Balanced acidity, soft wine for the most part, and it pairs well with a lot of, you know, your traditional like dark red meats kind of thing. Anything that's going to be able to balance the acidity and the tannin that you're going to find in this wine here. So that's all the wines we've got for you today. I hope that you've enjoyed your tasting kit so far. Included in your tasting kit, you've got a pamphlet. It's going to talk you through all the different wines, some of the notes that we talked about here. We've also included a promotional code in case you want to buy any additional wine from us. There's also a link to our wine club. We would be thrilled if you enjoyed our wines enough to purchase them again. And I hope you enjoyed everything so far, and we hope to talk to you and see you soon. Thanks for joining us.